Hello and welcome to another episode of the Frankly podcast. And this is one of our 4 bonus episodes. And I am really excited to introduce you to my dear friend and great change facilitator, Catherine Winterburn. Catherine, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for giving up your time to do this.
Thank you. Thanks, Jen. It's great to be here.
And for anyone who doesn't know Catherine, Catherine is a writer and a poet. First and foremost, I love that we've got that up front. Makes a living by working as an executive coach, a leadership developer, organisational consultant and facilitator. She is founder and director of Winterburn Works Limited, a bespoke consultancy working with people across all sectors using an asset-based approach.
Quite the mouthful.
Do you want to just tell us what using an asset-based approach means? Because I imagine for leaders that aren't in the world of change and development like us, they might be like, oh, that sounds curious. What's that about?
Okay. So for me, what that means is, well, often I think, and historically, leadership development programs tend to be competency-based, or they have a list of here are the qualities that you need to kind of absorb in order to become a good leader. And if you don't have those, it's kind of quite deficit. It's like, I have to strive to get them. I try and, for me, an asset-based approach is really looking at what are the strengths, what are the gifts, what are the qualities that you already have, that if you were living them to their fullest potential, how would you use those skills and qualities to be a better leader? So rather than it be a striving towards, I need to become this other thing that I'm not, it's much more of turning that on its head and saying, this is who, let me get really comfortable with who I am and really grounded and anchored in the strengths that I already have. And how do I use those strengths then in order to, in my role as a leader?
I love that. And I love that, feels like taking more of an abundant approach rather than a scarcity approach. So what
Absolutely.
we already have, rather than starting on that, I'm not good enough, I need to go and gather and get some stuff.
Yeah, because it's a hiding to nothing almost. It's it's a constant search. It's a constant quest of, and as you said just then, it's like this. It perpetuates those beliefs of I'm not good enough. Well, of course you are.
Yeah. Well, for those people that don't know you, and I know we've done a little bit of an introduction, but tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do and what you love about what you do, and then we'll dive into the subject of today's podcast.
Okay. So I obviously you've mentioned it. I run my own business. I'm an independent change facilitator, OD consultant, whatever label you want to put on that. And I work as a coach as well. And so I left full-time employment 8 years ago. I worked within the NHS, and I actually did this type of work within that system. I set up my own business, and what do I love about it? I love the variety. So some days I can be working kind of one-to-one with individuals. That's great, gives you a bit of instant feedback. Other days I might be working in an organisation, maybe with a board or with a team, looking at kind of strategy or how to bring about culture change. So it's a constant, there's a variety to it, and I love that. And I just love the independence that being a freelancer brings, because you have a choice. You have more choice. There's different drivers, and you're your own boss. So I actually I do enjoy that. And these days, I've been making more time to to do the creative writing, which has always been a bit of a hobby of mine. And I've started to try and do that more seriously. I'm currently working on a memoir, hybrid memoir, which is telling the story of 3 generations of stoic and independent women in my family. And I guess the other thing I should say is that increasingly what I'm trying to do is bring some of that creativity and the creative writing practices into the organizational work, which is, again, probably something that I would be less able to do if I was working for someone else. So, and that's great because it helps people to kind of really get underneath the surface of things. We get deep into kind of assumptions and meaning, and how do we make meaning together. So yeah, it's just a joy.
And that's kind of leading us nicely into the topic that we're going to talk about today. One skill that leaders really need to kind of, well, in this case, because of what we've just said about asset-based learning, unlocking themselves, not go out and gather, just something that they can unlock in themselves.
Mm.
And we're going to talk about curiosity.
Yes.
So tell us about curiosity from the context of a leader and why you think it should really matter to leaders today.
Okay, I think it matters today because we're working and living in a context there's so much uncertainty, so much volatility. It's that whole VUCA kind of society is just, ever changing, changing more rapidly and on a bigger scale. And for me, what that means is those traditional models that said, which were particular to the West, I think, or more particular to the West. There is an answer, we can get the answer, we have the answer. I just think they're a little bit kind of, really? No, we don't. We don't have it. So I think then it's a case of, okay, well, if we don't have the answer, what can we do? For me, then, curiosity is a way of getting closer to a different answer. So it's remaining open to different possibility. It's a much more using curiosity to see the familiar in unfamiliar ways. It's bringing fresh eyes to a subject, bringing in more diversity. So me as the leader, I don't have to have the answer. I don't have to have the answer, but I have to have a process or a way of getting closer to something, to a different answer. I don't know if that makes sense, but
totally.
it's about bringing in. It's about recognizing there isn't certainty. There are not absolutes. Therefore, let's work with that uncertainty in a way that doesn't fuel our own anxiety.
Yeah.
As a leader.
Yeah, I love that. It was making me think about that whole thing that the future that's coming towards us. There is no rule book anymore, is there? You know, we've never lived through it. We cannot go to a library and get a couple of books off the shelf and go, oh, how did they handle this last time? What can we learn from what's gone before? Right, we'll apply that model.
Yeah.
It is literally like, oh, right, okay, this is different. What do we do with that different? And you'll be able to speak more to this, but I think there's a kind of instinctive response to try and solve and resolve and sort and tie up nicely and get things like a task out of the way so that we can keep moving forward rather than hitting pause and going, oh, okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think there is something about we are almost kind of socialized. We're kind of habitual fixers often. And if you are a leader in an organization, your followers will be looking to you as the leader to fix things. And you might be sitting there as the leader going, I have no idea what the answer is. But you're feeling the pressure that you have to have an answer. So it's that kind of uncertainty and getting really comfortable with the not knowing. Oh, right, everybody's looking at me as the leader to have the answer. I need to do something. Often that results in a knee-jerk reaction or a kind of quick fix that is not sustainable, or might be there could have been other options to explore. So there's a shutting down or a reducing. Whereas I'm advocating for let's open things up. It might feel difficult. It might feel messy. It might feel like we're involved in lots of different conversations. And when we're kind of the pressure's on, the pace of an organization is to have, let's get things done. So it might feel that it's by opening things up, we're slowing things down. And to some degree that's true. But if that is happening up front at the beginning of a process or a problem, spending time in that space might save time further downstream, because you're not then in a repair mode or So it's turning it's turning the fix it certainty control model on its head and going, no, let's work with the uncertainty of what's in front of us.
Yeah, what I'm hearing in what you're saying is that thing of if we can hit the pause button before just flying forward with a decision without opening up the field, for want of a better word, or the options to say, well, this is our obvious first choice that we would autopilot with, but what are all the other ways? Like you kind of like miss out on exploring whether there is a better way, don't you? That like hitting the brakes to go, oh, hang on a minute though, and you might still choose the same decision to move forward with, but at least you've kind of gone, do we have any other options available to us, and are any of the others worth trying at this stage? And so I'm thinking about leaders in this context that are like, oh, but in my shoes I am in that pace and under pressure. So what's your advice to them about being able to hit the pause button and stop long enough to go, whoa, wait, here's one of those moments for curiosity?
Yeah. I think that it's experimentation. It's try it. This might be a practice or a habit or a behavior that is unfamiliar, and therefore it's going to take it needs to become a practice of okay. I'm not sure I know the answer. Who do I need to bring into this conversation? Who are the usual suspects that I often talk to around this stuff? Right. How do I reach out to the not usual suspects, the people that would have a different perspective? And I think it's telling often that certain leaders will they'll have people around them, their confidants, their kind of close peer group, and that's absolutely fine. But again, there's a danger to that you're always going to get the same kind of way of thinking. There's a kind of collective think there. So, and it's really hard often to go, who should be in this conversation? Who do I disagree with? Who do I generally have a difference of opinion? Yeah. Right. What's the work that I need to do now to bring that person into this conversation? Because I want a different outcome.
Yeah. Do what you've always done and get what you've always got.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yet we still do it. We can say that at a rational level. My own neural pathways are well grooved to do things in the way that I've always done. Taking a leap into that next kind of valley, that different neural pathway, it is a discipline. It is a kind of, okay, stop. I need to do something different here. Yeah. And I think, it's trying different things that help to do that.
Yeah, and you've touched on some of the reasons why leaders should really care about this hot topic and be interested. Well, curious in curiosity. If you had to summarize it, why do you think curiosity should really matter to leaders today?
I think for some of the big changes, big challenges that we have, either at a kind of organizational level or at a societal level, I think we're a little bit deluded if we think that we have an answer or that there is a straightforward answer, a linear answer to that. I think the heroic leadership models of the past are just outdated. There are no superheroes really. There's plenty of them on our big screen, but in the real world,
yeah,
they don't exist.
No.
So we have to look at, actually, we are a society. We are social. We are social beings. We have to, rather than look to one person or an individual to sort things out for us or to have answers, we have to kind of be much more collaborative and do that in a way that works.
Where are the contexts then where you think it's useful to get more curious? Are there certain contexts where you're like, here are opportunities that leaders can keep their eyes and ears out for to go, oh, this is a good chance for me to step into being curious? Or do you just advocate for being more curious generally across the board, whatever you're in and wherever you are?
Well, definitely the latter. I do advocate for that. I also know it's hard. And I also, but in an organizational context, for leaders in organizations, I think I was very lucky and very, very early in my career, which was too many years ago. I remember a manager of mine, a director of mine, and a mentor who was a mentor. He had two sayings that really stuck with me. The first one was, often when we're working with people, with other people in the organization, there is a no that has to be said. So we might say no, but then it goes, rather than just stop there, it's no because, but. So no, you can't do this. These are the reasons why, but let's try this. Let's do something else. Let's have a conversation. Here are some other possibilities or other things. Let's explore this together. And the other saying that he used to, that was very, I thought was quite insightful but quite pithy, was, if an issue or a challenge has if it's not been dealt with within 7 days, it's past its sell-by date. Move on. Next thing.
Oh, interesting.
And and those things have stuck with me for all these years, and still kind of feel like they are worthwhile.
Yeah. So, what's your top tip for leaders looking to become more curious and to cultivate more curiosity into their leadership style, like to unlock more of that within themselves? Here's where you start.
You start with yourself, and recognize, this is uncertain, not knowing, getting comfortable with the not knowing, and understanding the personal anxiety that might create and cause. And therefore, how do you hold and anchor yourself in that of, when everything around you is saying, yeah, but we have to move fast, we have to do it now, we have to have an answer, we have to, is to stay anchored in the uncertainty. And doing nothing is action. It's a choice, but it is taking action. So doing nothing, taking a breath, pausing, thinking, and going, okay, what's an alternative?
Yeah. I think that for me, that's the thing for me in this context. The leader maybe has more sway and swagger to I've got this image of like holding the reins of the gladiator chariot and kind of going, whoa, hold your horses. It's almost like I feel like leaders have more sway to be that pause button and just go, whoa, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Before we fly forward, let's just pause.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you're saying, but I feel like the responsibility sits somewhere, doesn't it? And it's often with the leader, but doesn't have to be. It could
but
be.
I think it's a way of being that is very, and I hate this word, but it's very empowering to others.
Yes.
Because what it's saying to other people is, okay, they don't know, and but they're willing to talk to us and work with us. And if you're a leader in an organization, but the other thing to say about reaching those the people that you wouldn't necessarily talk to, that's kind of take a slice through the organization, because often leaders at a senior level in an organization who have this sense of we have to have the answers, often if they do take a pause and go, who else could we involve in this conversation? Where does the answer sit? Look at that kind of shop floor. Often that that's where some of the best answers come from. But often, so providing a voice, encouraging those voices to find and kind of be with you in conversation. That again, there's some real richness there, I think.
Yeah.
And there's some real, some often quick wins, quick solutions. So we often, again, as leaders, we think that the answer has to be very complex, complicated. It's going to be costly. Actually, sometimes if you speak to that variety, get that diversity in the room, they're simple. They're they are kind of much more small margins that bring big gains.
Yeah, I love that. So for people who want to reach out and connect to you, we will pop your details with a link to the podcast. But what's the best way of them reaching out? Is it LinkedIn, your website?
It is. LinkedIn's probably the best, is to connect with me on LinkedIn, and then send me a message and let's get into a conversation.
Yeah, and I love this topic because you and I both coaches in our work, among other things that we do. And that at the heart of coaching, you've just got to be curious, haven't you, and have an open mind. And everything that you've said keeps taking me back to a coaching client intervention when I've been in the like, oh, wasn't expecting this, or oh, where are we going now, or oh, we're going there. Like, you know, they're kind of like just really sitting in the unknown,
Yeah.
and trusting, you know, just trusting that
Trusting
together
the
you'll
process.
find a way forward, and just being curious and having questions up your sleeve is really empowering for people.
Yeah, definitely. And just
Yeah.
to build on that, just as a final thought, it reminded me of, I was once working with a group of doctors who are trained to fix,
Mm-hmm.
diagnose, fix, diagnose, prescribe, fix. And this was someone who did medical education, so stood at the front of a class, taught people what to do, and I did some work with them, um, facilitating action learning, and was helping this particular doctor to learn to become an action learning facilitator. And I remember that she was very, very kind of resistant to the idea of peer-based learning, other people, the wisdom being kind of among the group, and found it very, very difficult because her whole kind of way of being previously had been, well, I am the teacher, I know best, I hold the knowledge. And therefore, it's my responsibility to impart the knowledge and get it right. There's a pressure with that of I have to know and I have to deliver and I have to give this to others. 6 months into this project, when she learned kind of and had been involved for quite a while and started to understand it much more, I remember her coming to me going, oh my God, this is so liberating. Because I don't have to, because other people have the answer and I don't have to have it. And it's just quite empowering and liberating. And I think there's something there. If she got a different result by working in that way.
Yeah. Oh, what a lovely example to end on. I love this topic. I feel like we have literally not even taken the cherry off the top of the
Yeah.
cake of curiosity, because there's so much that sits underneath it. So we're going to have to come back and do part 2 and part 3 in future series. But just to say thank you for your time, your wisdom, your willingness to come and share. I've really loved talking to you, Catherine, as always.
Oh, thanks, Jen. It's been a real pleasure. Yeah, let's do it again sometime.
We will. Thank you.
Thanks.